everybody. So like promised, we are back for a size and placement demo for Apple of Our Yard. So the palette that you see is ultramarine blue. I've got white out there, but I just use that for white balance. So, but ultramarine blue and burnt umber with my medium, and my medium is the Gamblin Neo Miguel. This is a 12 by 16. Had a painting on it before, as you could see. Self-portrait. That was scraped down, sanded, and then painted over and then stained. So it's a very smooth surface. And I think without further ado, we need to just get into this. So the microphone is going to be behind me when I'm at the easel. Still got a few logistics we have to figure out there, but we'll get that figured out. So I'm going to get a paintbrush, have a bite of chocolate, and we will get going while you guys settle in. All right. Got a few paintbrushes to choose from here.
Hi, Miss Karen.
Okay, so it sounds like Karen's here. I'm just getting myself oriented real quick. Where are those brushes? There we go. That's what I was looking for right there. So again, today, at least when I start here, we're going to see how this goes. It's just ultramarine blue and burnt umber. I put white out so I could white balance the camera. This is Neo Miguel right here. And so that'll be all you'll see. And what you want to look for is how thick and thin the paint gets. I'm going to keep it pretty thin because these are preliminary marks. Okay, and I can take it slow and warm up. So are we ready to go? Ready or not, here we go. So I make sure my brush is nice and wet, right, so it doesn't hold any paint. And then I don't really want that much paint. A little warm, burnt umber, some cool ultramarine blue. See, you can see there's not a lot there, and that's still too much for this first thing. We want to just barely be able to see these marks. Okay, so our general movement, if you guys will remember, it's going to be wider, and we're going to come down tight as we come over here. We need to find out where that is, which is going to be the end of the leaf. We want to walk up on the leaf, and we want a nice curve. Okay, notice some of these marks aren't even able to see. I'm just kind of feeling my way around the canvas. From here, big, and like that, back like that. And what I'm doing right now is placing that triangle, right? But I'm not thinking of it as a triangle. I'm just thinking of as entering this side. We're going more, and then we're getting smaller and smaller, smaller till we get over here somewhere, right? So that's the basic what's going on. Then I want to know where I want to end, where I want my last light at. And then from there I can find where to put the apple and all of that. Okay. So for me, this process is generally pretty slow. Again, I'm just kind of getting my nervous system warmed up. And one way I can warm up too is I already know that I need dark up here, right? So rather than come in and solve all these problems right off the bat, why don't we just kind of say hello to everybody and right, remember this is foreground table. It's going to be darker. Our apple will be somewhere back into here. So all I'm doing is kind of framing out our apple right now. Where's our painting going to be? This is going to prevent, as we work, from the outside being lighter than anything else. All right, and again, you can see, kind of seeing how the paint takes the canvas, how far I can push it, how dark it is at this paint quality, all those good things. All right, so now it's time to start making some decisions. Again, ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Start was the key there. Start making these decisions. So again, even before I place objects, we want to walk back here. We don't want this end even to that. Maybe. And remember this part, we got to be able to jump out there. Wow, that looks like way off, right? But I think that might be about what we want. The tip of that last leaf was somewhere like that. Then where is our little singer? Right, so we know we want her over here somewhere. Is that too tall? Maybe right in here. That put our apple about right there with that gesture. And this, I have this gesture here. We're going to have a nice negative shape. I'm going to stretch that out. Bring it there. Oops, I got that gesture wrong. This gesture is going to go like that. this gesture will go like that. All right, we got to watch that evenness. We were talking about that at the end today with Susan. Again, you can't see this very clearly because I don't want you to see it very clearly. This is the underlay. This is my thinking. It's behind the scenes. Okay, so something like that. Where's that one shadow going to go? Should we see if we're up here? Let's put that spot there. So then our triangle that we'll have, you'll see that. And from here, we come like that. And we didn't take that triangle off, but we left room for it to breathe. Right? This is going to end somewhere, not at the very end, but it's going to be weak, but we want it near the end. It's the finish. Right? Our apple is going to be past halfway so that we have to come into it. We're going to drop this down and make it large enough to do it. And then we're going to build off of our negative shapes there. Okay, I hope that made some sort of sense, how I found my way to this. So now let me fill this out a little bit. I'll take some of So I'm just giving it a good look. I'm thinking if I feel happy with this or not. Sometimes it takes a long time to get happy with it. Sometimes it's pretty quick. Okay, so since I've done the color study and I know all this, why don't I go ahead and sneak. So this is really old paint, but look, that cad red is still, boom, ready to dominate. Alright, so I just grabbed some cad red in with my umber. I just want to see. Let's see. Let's be specific too. That shoulder comes out about right there before it heads back in. Okay. And just so he doesn't get lonely. Want that there. How's this shoulder going to come? That shoulder's there. Make that shoulder. That'll help with that gesture. Something like that. So from the very beginning, I'm setting up this paint to take other paint and lay off and not to be ever really anything big and flat. Really don't want something bigger and flatter than my shadows. The values are not right now. That's not what I'm worried about. Too red. Let's see. The stem. How do we want this stem going up? About like that. See how I'm already lining up, so trying to stop too soon. I just have to keep pushing it out. Can you hear my voice okay, Betty? Okay. Okay, so while we still have all this warmth on here, what I want to do is just take this.
Susan's here. She said, been here, forgot to say hi.
Welcome, Susan. You guys are a trooper after the 3-hour lesson this morning. Okay, so you see what I'm doing here is I'm making this darker and more, and I'm pushing it back, but I'm also warming up my nervous system and my brain and thinking more to less. More to less. Right, even before I get specific with anything, just as we're winding up. Right, there's some light there, cover that. Don't want any light down here. All right, so this can happen on a subtle level and it can happen pretty quick. And we want something similar back here. Let's think, how do we want this light running through here? How do we want this light? So I loved us going up that leaf to the highlight. And I don't think we just want to come up and back down to here. That leaf, that highlight, I was thinking, what if we made that the lightest thing there? Not the highlight, but the lightest object. We'd have our little darling over here. And then this far, let this first one be quiet. Maybe darker, richer to come forward. And then let some more light hit that back one. Hey, I hope you followed that, but from doing this 3 times, from seeing all of your guys' work and all the knowledge I've gained from studying this, I think this might be a little bit of a better plan. So let me repeat that plan, right? Overall, we're going to have that leaf right here. There'll be a highlight right along the edge of that leaf. That's going to throw us up to the highlight on the apple. We'll continue up to this leaf right here. It's going to be a nice shadow, which helps to stabilize things by being a vertical with that or somewhere related to it. And we don't want the light to be above that. We want to keep moving this direction, so the light might be somewhere in there. We're going to let this first leaf be a little darker, richer, and not really get the attention. Skip over it, so to speak. And then let this down here be the finish. With, again, balanced over there. So we'll speck a light, light, light. You're going to have stuff over here. You're going to have stuff down there. Let's see how that works out anyway. Okay? I can't tell you it's going to work for sure, but what I can tell you is I've got an idea, and now I'm going to execute that painting around the idea of moving through the painting that direction. So what's the easiest thing I can do to begin with? Take that background away. Right? Set up a background. So that's red. I don't want it red. I'm going to get more blue in here. Set up a background so that that thing there can make all the noise it needs to make. Again, while you're doing this, you're learning to control the substance of oil paint. Control your brush, how to push the paint, how to pull the paint, what's possible when the paint's at this consistency. So if something's not working the way you want it to, instead of getting frustrated, try to get curious. That's interesting. I want to do this, and I'm trying to do it this way, but this is happening. Right? And usually just simple awareness brought to it, we can figure it out. Sooner or later, might not be immediately. It's always about bringing the awareness to the right thing, the right problem, the right question. Again, it's as much about me getting in a relationship with the paint and what I can do with the paint at this point. Right? Much more so than getting it finished.
Susan says, I'm fascinated by the way you see it before it's there. I'm trying to work on that.
Experience will bring that. So Susan said she's fascinated how I see it before it's there. And that's just some experience. Again, looking at it in a particular way. So stick with it. You guys are doing this so much faster than I did. I mean, just you guys are blowing me away. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to be stunned. Right? I want to see a painting. I want to be stunned. I want to see your growth. I want to be stunned. It's just what I'm into. It's just kind of my thing. Again, I could have a much bigger brush doing this, and I might, if I was on my own, or I might not, because this is kind of my thinking time. Right? Almost taking a walk, getting ready for the day, winding the day up. Right? Processing what happened. Yes, ma'am?
Susan says that's a testament to your teaching.
You guys are determined to embarrass me today. I don't know why you guys are being so mean. Just determined to embarrass me.
Keep it going.
All right. So again, this isn't exactly what I want, but we're coming in on it, right? And by doing that, we're able to see the painting we want to make. And that's how we want to start, right? By pushing immediately towards what we want, even more so than getting the exact right value. Right? Let's get that whole thing in there and get it situated, then we can push and pull on values a little bit. But this is size and placement, and I'm combining that with the lay-in. I'm kind of doing the lay-in as I do the size and placement with a little bit of color. Not getting carried away, because this is just thin stain. But again, even so, this is more than all the background, right? Say, heck yeah it is, Jason, heck yeah. All right. So, you guys know what? I can't help it. I need my other paint, because I am going to go ahead and put the palette out here and lay this in. So, give me half a second. I'm going to put some ivory black next to the blue.
Yeah.
Just put that right there. I am going to lay out some yellow ochre, but I'm going to squeeze it on a paper towel because this yellow ochre's got a lot of oil in it. So I let some of the oil get soaked out. In the meantime, I'll get a bit of burnt umber and cad red. Let's see, where are our perimeters here? So cad red. So our medium's right there. I'm going to save a little room for that. There's our burnt umber. This is no 5x7. Gonna need some more paint. There's a cad red. And what are we missing? A little more blue, maybe? This is flake white replacement that I'm using. Ultramarine blue. So we got ivory black, ultramarine blue, and white, all of our cool side. Then we've got cad red, burnt umber. We've got our Neo Miguel. I'm going to put out. I'm going to put out yellow ochre. Could you guys hear that with my back to the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay.
The very last I couldn't hear. The burnt umber. There you go. Yeah. I can hear it.
You see that? I've just. Is that under the thing yet?
Nope. There it is.
Alright, so I just put it on the paper towel for a few minutes. If your paint's too oily, then we'll be okay.
Very tough.
I know, it's just I got that burnt umber there, so
Yeah.
we'll just.
Ooh, there you go.
There we go.
A mustard blob.
I know, one's you.
Yeah, it's Susan.
Alright, Susan, Karen. Does this make sense so far? So, I wanted that because let's get into this black and do that. I want to start with our our main subject, the apple. So let's find.
Susan commented.
I feel like I want to be darker and heavier than that shadow than I have right now. What did Susan say?
She said, really? I started painting 4 years ago and have taken classes where I learned a lot of facts and learned how to copy pictures, but never really learned how to create.
Mm.
And then Karen said, same here.
That's great. It's so fun. Honestly, I'm a little bit scared because it seemed like with you guys' help, we've pulled this off, creating this class that I've had in my mind for years.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a lot of teaching because I was holding out for my vision. I didn't want to get stuck in a bunch of Art 101. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't agree with the way it's taught.
Susan said, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you guys. So I just added some yellow ochre to that. Again, because that's kind of like lighter and grayer before I start adding any white. So what'll happen is if I'm sensitive every time I come through here, every time I come through there, every time I come, well, what about that? Nope, that time too. Every time I come through here, if we make a point of getting that order in and then doing it again slightly different and doing it again slightly different and doing it again slightly different, before you know it, you've got this really rich, rich world. What should just be a dull apple just has everything in it, you know, because what we want to see is life. So we're trying to depict life, you know, atmosphere. And I like to depict a place, I don't know, kind of a meditative, but I don't even know how to describe it, and I'm a little bit afraid to, because sometimes when we start to put words on things, we pollute them. You know what I mean? It dumbs them down in a way. It takes the finesse from it because you're trying to jam it into something that it's not. And in doing that, it skews your vision. It messes with the finesse, the fineness of your vision. So what we want to do is just see these basic orders, know how to do it here, and then just feel our way through it. So I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to try to find this background that I like next to the shadow. And then from that, I want to try to find my green over here. I know that's a little bit backwards, but that's all right. It's all right. So what are we going to be? Let's start with black and white, just a pure gray. So that shows up pretty strong against that. But the problem is it seems lighter than the red. Right, almost act like a highlight. So let's go a little bit darker. Does that fit right there? Not too bad. I need to lighten this red up anyway. So I think we're not too bad right there. And notice I don't try to protect things at this stage. Right? And that'll add to that openness later. Some of this stuff is run through a few times. Okay, so I'm going to step back now and just kind of take this in as a whole and see how I'm feeling about this. And I'm not going to put too much weight on it because all of that, once that's covered, it's going to make this look different. Okay? Okay, so while we're here, and we're about to go back into this red, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can just make this edge non-existent. Okay. All right, you guys, are you paying attention? So I'm going to do something a little sneaky right now, but this is very, very important. If I'm semi-happy with that, and I'm semi-happy with that, what I'm going to do now is to come right here, and with this, start heading in the direction of that. I want to bring this and that together quietly, right? So we need to bridge that right there. How might we do that? Well, we might just pick some of this up and put it in there. I know, fancy, right? And go ahead, cover over those leaves because then we won't have to try to outline them later. All right, if this has already got some of that on there, then I can literally just put part of that leaf in and let it disappear into the background, literally. But the background has got to be there in order for you to do that. How are we doing on time, babe?
It is 2:09.
Have we really been doing this for 40 minutes?
Yep.
When I say it takes a little time, I mean, I cannot believe I've been doing this for 40 minutes. It feels like we've been doing it a minute and a half. So it takes a little, but I'm engaged, I'm having a good time. So you just got to tell your friends to get lost. Tell your family they need a hobby. You need a little more time to paint.
Someone joined, but I don't know who it is.
Oh, a mystery guest. Well, whoever just joined, you're killing Cindy. You gotta let her know who you are.
Who's here?
Say hi to her. Okay. So again, why don't we... No, I'm happy, and right, my temptation is to go in this and feel this out. When I do that, I'm just going to smear more of that. Let's wait. Let's get our greens in here, then maybe some of our green can fill that in. And you know what that means? It's more interesting than just pushing purple around. So green shadow is going to be blue. Yellow ochre.
Ah, Katie's here. Hi, Katie.
Oh, hi, Katie. And then a little bit of cad red again to warm this up. Shadows do need to be warm. Is that going to match relatively close? That seems... Maybe. Maybe. And look, between our shadow and our light, we need air. The air's already there. Dang. Trying to find my smudger.
Your smudger?
My smudger.
Your
Hey, fence builder Jason, that's a nice little railroad track you've got there, buddy. Hey, who asked you? Who asked you? Get back in your box. All right. All right. There you go, you little brat. Anything else? You gotta make sure that the right part of you wins. Alright, so that's gonna bend down like that. And I'm not gonna have this be as loud as that. So it'll be a little darker, richer. Oops, don't cover the background, Jason. You did all that work. It worked so well. You see how that's just kind of invisible? That's almost what I want. I may have to come and pull that out because I want to come up to this leaf and over to that leaf. And so this is not going to keep us from doing that. And at the same time, it's holding our negative shape. Okay, which brings us to another negative shape, which I think we're going to just put about like that. All right, let's see how this goes. Oh, what happened to my shadow? to remake it. Alright, so we're coming here. We decided that was going to be that. The negative shape. Let's send this one out. Alright, choo choo. Put those railroad tracks in there. It's a little here. Let's go more here. A little less, right? For the waffle. The waffle in there, and then maybe let that cast a shadow down. Maybe. Not hearing any. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Exactly the same. Okay, so we want to go from here down. So let's go ahead and take this further down. Is everybody laughing at my growling or just
No,
you?
I'm just laughing at it.
Just you. All right.
I could start to see it, and I was like, uh-oh.
All right, so boom, and then so that dictates we got to be down here.
It's just railroad tracks? Question mark.
Railroad tracks like the same width all the way through, right? And look, they're lined up, lined up. Come on. You know what I might do too is if this was laying down like that, maybe there's a lot being thrown into shadow right there. So it turns under, then that's going to turn our back around. All right, we'll see. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I've got that in my sight. It is bothering me to be sure. So let's go back to our green and light. And then this we do want to see more of. Right, with the most of it. We're going to go here, we're going to jump up, and then we're going to follow this around. Maybe. All right. And this is going to be a little bit lighter up here. Remember that leaf here? Where do we want that light?
Karen said that was gorgeous.
I was holding my breath. All right. And of course, our shadow. Holds the light. Did you guys see what I just did? I took some of that blue, just a touch, then I started over here and then pulled the red into there. So it literally just bleeds into one another. Okay. So if we're going to come up here, then another question, and what I want to do is I'm just going to do this with this green right now. It'll probably be lighter later. Highlight about there. Like that. Okay, so I envisioned this down here, but since that's so far down, I kind of like that and then dropping back down. So we'll try that, and I think that dark will fit real well starting here, going across there. So we've got that happening, and we're gonna have a little balance right over here somewhere, aren't we? So let's go ahead and take our first guess on that. Right, so when I place things, I'm placing them according to, again, the movement. So I want it above that. Is that a parentheses? You guys are awfully quiet, making me nervous.
You're mesmerized.
How are we doing on time? I've lost track of time again.
2:23.
Wow. So it's been an hour. Okay, guys, so I'm going to push this a little bit much, but I'm going to do my darndest not to take over an hour 15. When's an hour 15? Sweetie?
2:45.
And it's 2:50, so it's a half hour?
No. 16. No, 15. 20 minutes. 21 minutes.
21 minutes. Okay, let's see what we can do in 21 minutes here. Let us see what we can do. 21 minutes. Ooh. I like this brush for 21 minutes. That on the screen barely.
A little more.
Huh?
A little more? Yeah. It's a little. Barely. figure out why you took that red so far to the right at the top of the apple. One stroke later, it's all there.
Don't make me laugh while I'm doing a
Sorry.
highlight. I'm glad that worked out for us, Karen. Glad that worked out for us. All right, is anybody going to tell this guy he's on a time limit?
17 minutes. We're still in.
17 minutes, and I'm just sitting here having fun. Shame on me. Shame on me. Okay, so let's keep going. We got to continue this dark right through here. So we set up the apple, I hope, so that we're ready for that dark. Okay, so we've got a highlight, we've got color, we've got background, and we've got shadow. So with those four things on the canvas, we have a quote unquote finish, right? We have all the players there on stage. So they may need some new stage directions or some new lines, but they're there. All right, so we're going to go back to our green shadow that does not, I repeat, does not have any white in it. And where do we want this shadow interrupted? We want it to come across. Right, so you see where I start the shadow of the leaf? I start it where I want it to interact with what's already there. I don't start it at some random place and bring it back, but I know I don't want it in tangent with that shadow. I know I don't want it tangent with the edge of that apple. So let's come above and go in a bit. Then we can decide how big we want that. All right, we can tell them that this is in front. It's quite a bit bigger. And that perspective is the reason. And perspective is a highly valued skilled. And therefore this painting is a lot of money. Okay, so that's the one side of the leaf flipping up, right? And then it'll cast a shadow on the other side. And then the other side might have a little bit of light on it, where it falls into that shadow. And the white's too much right now, but it's all right because it'll fade. The first coat of a paint wall in the corner, we want to go up there. All the way up there. Okay, and then that's all that needs. I don't want to highlight the stem or anything like why, because I want to keep going this way. So I don't want anything under here that's going to take away from that. So if I do want some reflection of that red, remember it's going to be darker, richer, not lighter, grayer. Let me put it here, right? Because it's not a straight ramp, but again, it's not over here. It's not going to take us off the path. Making friends with the neighbors. Just making friends with the neighbors. Being neighborly. Okay, guys, are there any questions at this point? I think this is a good lay-in. I would probably leave this open, can come back later. I might take some of that green that we've got right in there. Make sure it's nice and grayed out. Oops, got some red in there somehow. That red is powerful. That's too cool. A little burnt umber. Warm it up a bit. I'm not thrilled with that, but we'll see. I'm not going to cover everything because it still feels a little reddish to me. It feels reddish, and I'd like it greenish. Greenish.
I asked any questions. Susan said, just absorbing.
Just what?
Absorbing.
Okay. All right, because I'll be wrapping this up here in just a minute or two. Yeah, you see? Can you see that? Because the red is warm, and the purple's too close. So what I wanted to do was introduce a little of that blue or green back here. Rather than, it looks almost yellow underneath there. And as I do this, that foreground should come forward even more. And that background should set back even more. Again, soft, soft, quiet transitions back there. So I can come in and play those up if I want to. Notice it's the same value as the, so that's very quiet right now. I'm going to leave it as it is. And again, it gives me some room, but what have I done today? Basically, we've just got this thing started. Boom. Do we know where we want? Well, yeah, that's pretty obvious, right? I mean, is anybody going to have trouble finding their way to that apple? No, not unless there's something seriously wrong with them. Is it too bright at this point? Absolutely. But it's okay. It's the king of the hill. We got a nice light up here. We're going to have that, and we're going to balance that off of that. That might be all we need. Once we get that dark behind it, that's going to be a lot brighter. All right, I hope that made sense. And again, with the shadow in here, that's just going to... But we're going to save all that for the second demo. So you don't have to do it this fast, but I've spent 1 hour, started with a blank canvas. And again, by not placing and sizing everything, but our general movement, going back to those negative shapes to kind of find those big leaves, remembering the movements I need so that dictates where those leaves go, right? And even if it seems wild and crazy, do it, right? Because that movement is what's important. So if you guys weren't here, don't remember, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about that. And I was thinking kind of all of this balanced by that. Okay, so I kind of see this as a thing, and then I see that as a counterbalance to this. Okay, and that's a common... A few paintbrushes, Jason? That's a common... It's called a steel yard. If we had a little thing here and a lot of weight here in the center, then for balance, you'll have a little thing way over here on the edge. So that's part of what's happening here with that. Okay, and sometimes these are all mixed up. It's not purely one or the other. And I feel like I'm droning on. So,
Susan had a good comment.
okay, what's the comment?
She said, I wish I could remember it all after hearing it for the first time. Thank you for going
Wow.
over it again.
Yeah, you and me both. Susan said she wished she could remember it going over it the first time. Yeah, there's just the depth of it it's incredibly deep. So it takes a few times through to, or more than a few thousand times through maybe. But it's fun, right? It's just go in. Oh, I'm gonna try to do that. What happens? Right? You're gonna get in some fights with this paint, but make up, be friends. You're gonna be some falling outs again. Make up, be friends. Right? But be friends with the paint. Not necessarily its boss. Work with it. Work with it. All right, guys. What's that?
So you're 7 minutes early.
7 minutes early. So we're going to call that a day. I did not get the quick tip up yet. I will do that this afternoon, so it should be up by tonight. Talking about some of these gestures and some things that underlie that. Because we do need all of this to be dynamic. It doesn't really matter if you get it in there and it's just dunt, dunt, dunt. It's not going to make a good painting, right? We need what we see to be dynamic. So arrange that and just make it happen. All right. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Yes? Another one?
Katie asked, will the recording be available? Just a reminder it stays on the page.
Okay. So Katie was asking if the recording's available. Yes, it'll stay on the page. It may take it a few minutes to process, or more than a few minutes since this was an hour long or more, a little bit over an hour. And then it'll be on Facebook. Right after this, we will load it onto YouTube, the Meyer Studio page. And again, I'd give it 2-3 hours to get up on YouTube. But it should be there by this evening. All right, any other questions or anything?
Nope.
We're all good? All right, thank you guys for so much of your attention today. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.